We've traveled through the history of cosmic expansion. We've witnessed the discovery of acceleration and dark energy. We've explored the quantum void, mapped the expanding cosmos, and confronted the various deaths awaiting the universe. Heat death, the Big Rip, the slow dissolution of everything into eternal nothingness. But throughout this journey, one question has lingered in the background, unasked but always present. The question that lies at the heart of everything we've discovered. What is the universe expanding into? We've said it's not expanding into anything, that space creates more of itself, but this answer explains the mechanism without addressing the deeper mystery. How can something create more of itself from nothing? What is the nature of this nothing that becomes something? Today we confront the final question, not just as scientists, but as conscious beings aware of our own place in an expanding void. We'll explore the philosophical implications of cosmic expansion, the emotional weight of infinity, and what it means to live meaningfully in a universe racing toward dissolution. This is where physics meets philosophy, where terror meets wonder, where nothing meets something, where the human mind reaches the limit of what it can comprehend and discovers that the mystery is the answer. Chapter 11. The Philosopher's Void. The expansion of the universe into nothingness is not just a scientific question. It's perhaps the philosophical question. It touches on the deepest issues of existence. What is nothingness? Can nothingness even be said to exist? Philosophers have grappled with the concept of nothingness for millennia. Parmenides argued that nothingness was impossible because to speak of nothing was already to make it something. How can we conceptualize absolute absence when the act of conceptualization creates presence? But the cosmological void that dark energy reveals is different from these philosophical abstractions. It's physical nothingness, or at least something approaching it. Empty space with no matter, no radiation, just quantum foam and dark energy itself. Yet even this physical void is not truly nothing. The quantum vacuum seethes with virtual particles. It has energy. It has structure. In what sense, then, is it nothing? What is the universe expanding into? The standard answer is that it's not expanding into anything. Space itself is expanding, creating more space. There's no external void. There's no outside. But this answer is deeply unsatisfying on an intuitive level. How can something expand without expanding into something else? Everything we experience expands into something. The idea of expansion without an external space seems fundamentally contradictory. One way to think about it is through analogy. The surface of a balloon expands as you inflate it. Distances between points increase, but the surface isn't expanding into anything on the surface itself. It's expanding into a third dimension outside the two-dimensional surface. Similarly, our three-dimensional space might be expanding into a higher dimensional realm we can't perceive. Or perhaps the expansion is purely intrinsic to space itself, requiring no external arena. The philosopher's question becomes, is nothingness outside the universe the same as the nothingness inside the universe? Are there different kinds of nothing? Consider the heat death state. Space still exists. Dark energy still exists. A few scattered particles still exist. But nothing can happen. No information can be processed. This is existential nothingness, even though physical something remains. Is this state truly nothing? Or is it just a very empty something? The boundary between something and nothing blurs when we approach thermodynamic equilibrium. The Buddhist concept of emptiness offers another perspective. It suggests that all phenomena are empty of inherent existence, that everything arises dependently. The universe expanding into nothing might be seen as the ultimate expression of this emptiness. From this view, the distinction between something and nothing is illusory. What we call existence is just temporary patterns in an underlying void. The expansion doesn't destroy anything because there was nothing with permanent existence to destroy. Western philosophy has traditionally emphasized being over nothingness. But dark energy forces us to confront the primacy of the void. The nothing is more fundamental than the something. Space creates matter, not the other way around. And in the end, space filled only with dark energy is all that remains. The anthropic principle adds another philosophical layer. If we can only exist in a universe compatible with our existence, then dark energy's properties are explained not by deep physical laws, but by selection effects. The universe doesn't need a reason for dark energy's value beyond the fact that other values would preclude observers. This is philosophically troubling because it seems to give up on explanation, but it might be unavoidable if the multiverse is real. In an infinite multiverse, all possible values occur somewhere. We find ourselves with the values we observe because those are the values compatible with our existence. The heat death poses perhaps the ultimate philosophical question. What happens when nothing can ever happen again? Time loses meaning without change. Existence loses meaning without difference. The universe approaches a state that might be indistinguishable from non-existence. Yet, thermodynamic equilibrium is not non-existence. The quantum fields still exist. Space still exists. It's just that nothing interesting happens. The universe has become static, frozen, eternal in its nothingness. The void that the universe expands into, whether conceptual or physical, has become the central fact of existence. We are not solid beings in solid space. We are temporary patterns maintained against entropy, existing in space that is mostly nothing and accelerating toward more nothing. Perhaps that's the ultimate philosophical significance of dark energy. Not that the universe is expanding into nothing, but that nothing became something capable of understanding that it came from nothing and returns to nothing. Consciousness is the universe's way of knowing itself, even knowing that knowing is temporary. In the end, philosophy and physics converge on the same mystery. What is nothing? What is something? And why is there something rather than nothing? Dark energy doesn't answer these questions. It makes them more acute, more unavoidable, more central to understanding reality. Chapter 12. The Lonely Cosmos. We've explored the science, theory, and philosophy. Now we must confront what all of this means emotionally. The universe that dark energy reveals is not just vast or old or complex. It's lonely, profoundly, cosmically lonely. Loneliness is fundamentally about separation and isolation. And that's exactly what cosmic expansion creates. Separation on scales that are absolute, isolation that is permanent. Right now, we can see billions of galaxies. The universe seems crowded with possibilities. But this is an illusion created by our position in cosmic history. We're looking into the past. The universe of now is much emptier. And the future is lonelier still. Galaxies beyond a certain distance will eventually cross the cosmic event horizon. They'll fade from view and never return. In 100 billion years, only our local group will remain visible. Everything else will have vanished into unreachable distance. Imagine being an astronomer in that distant era. You look up and see only a few billion stars from your local galaxy. Beyond that, nothing. You might conclude that your galaxy is alone in the universe. And you'd be right. Practically speaking, those other galaxies might as well not exist. This is the isolation dark energy imposes. It's not just that we can't visit other galaxies, it's that the universe itself is constructed so that separation is built into its deepest laws. Space expands, distances grow, isolation increases. The isolation operates on multiple scales. Galaxies become isolated from each other. Within galaxies, solar systems are isolated. Even on planets, life is isolated by the hostility of space. Earth might be the only planet with life in our galaxy. We don't know. The Fermi paradox asks, where is everybody? If technological civilizations are possible, there should be evidence. Yet, we see nothing. The cosmos appears empty of intelligence except for us. Dark energy makes this worse. Even if there are other civilizations, expansion ensures most are forever beyond our reach. The ones in distant galaxies are already receding faster than light. We will never contact them. We're isolated not just by distance, but by space-time structure itself. The universe is a collection of lonely outposts, each looking up and wondering if anyone else is out there, each receiving only silence. There's also temporal loneliness. Civilizations likely arose at different times across cosmic history. Ancient civilizations billions of years ago are now so distant, their light will never reach us. Future civilizations will live in a lonelier universe with fewer galaxies visible. The universe is fracturing. The cosmic web is stretching and thinning. Eventually, the filaments will break, leaving clusters as isolated islands drifting ever further apart. There's something tragic about this. The universe created intricate structure through billions of years of evolution, and now dark energy is dissolving it, grain by grain, galaxy by galaxy. We feel this cosmic loneliness. We're aware that we're on a small planet, orbiting an ordinary star. We're aware the nearest star is light years away. We're aware the observable universe is shrinking. Some find beauty in this isolation. There's something pure about being alone with the cosmos. Others find only sadness. The universe created consciousness only to isolate it. Yet, perhaps loneliness is incomplete. The universe is also profoundly interconnected. Every atom in our bodies was forged in stars. We're literally made of stardust. The light from distant galaxies connect us across space and time. These connections don't eliminate the loneliness imposed by expansion, but they provide a counter-narrative. Yes, we're alone, but we're also connected. Both truths coexist. The universe is lonely, and we are the universe experiencing its own loneliness. We're alone together, each consciousness isolated, yet each sharing the same cosmic solitude. Chapter 13. The Emotional Weight of Infinity. Understanding cosmic expansion carries emotional weight. Dark energy delivers perhaps the final blow to human significance. Not only are we small in a vast cosmos, but that cosmos is temporary. Everything is being dissolved by an unstoppable force. This knowledge affects how we think about meaning, purpose, legacy. It forces us to confront mortality on a cosmic scale. Heat death is the ultimate reminder that even stars die, even space ends. Different people respond differently. Some experience existential dread. The universe is too big, too empty, too meaningless. Why do anything if it all ends in heat death? This is cosmic anxiety. The universe is fundamentally hostile to existence. Everything is temporary rebellion against inevitable return to nothing. But others find comfort in cosmic perspective. Yes, everything ends, but that makes the present precious. We exist now, when the universe is knowable and life is possible. That's not meaningless, that's miraculous. This is closer to finding wonder in perspective. We're made of star stuff. We're the cosmos knowing itself. The fact that we're temporary doesn't diminish value, it enhances it. There's also sublime terror in confronting cosmic scales. When we try to imagine 10 to the power of 100 years, our minds fail. The numbers become abstract. We can say the words, but can't grasp what they mean. This confrontation with the incomprehensible can be overwhelming. Some retreat to smaller concerns. Others become obsessed with cosmic questions. Still others find peace in accepting that some things are beyond comprehension. The expansion also affects how we think about the future. What's the point of planning distant futures when we know the ultimate fate? Some argue the ultimate fate is irrelevant to present action. The journey matters, even if the destination is heat death. Others embrace cosmic nihilism. Nothing matters ultimately, so nothing matters now. But this can be liberating. If nothing matters cosmically, we're free to create our own meanings. The knowledge also affects religious thinking. Traditional theism suggested the universe had purpose, but a universe expanding toward heat death seems purposeless. If there's a creator, what was the point? Some theologians try to reconcile cosmology with faith. Perhaps the heat death is a transition. Perhaps material universe was never meant to be permanent. Others abandon theism, finding spiritual meaning in the universe itself rather than a separate creator. There's also the question of priorities. Should we try to survive heat death, create new universes, escape into different dimensions, or accept the inevitable and focus on making the time we have meaningful? Transhumanists argue advanced civilizations might find ways to extract energy even in the late universe. Perhaps we could harvest Hawking radiation. Perhaps engineer new Big Bangs. Perhaps upload consciousness into persistent quantum fields. These are speculative, bordering on science fiction, but they represent a refusal to accept heat death as final, attempts to find hope in cosmic doom. Others argue such efforts are futile. Thermodynamics are absolute. Rather than futilely fighting, we should accept and find meaning in the present. The emotional weight is heavy. It's not knowledge that can be learned casually. Understanding requires emotional processing as well as intellectual understanding. Some experience existential vertigo when first contemplating these ideas deeply. The ground drops out from under familiar assumptions. Everything seems less solid, less meaningful. But for many, this gives way to acceptance or appreciation. The universe is what it is. We're part of something vast and doomed. That's not our fault. We're just here to witness it. And perhaps that's enough. Perhaps witnessing is meaningful. Perhaps consciousness, understanding its cosmic context, is the universe justifying itself. We are the meaning we seek. The emotional weight of infinity is balanced by the emotional richness of finitude. We are finite beings in an infinite cosmos. We're temporary patterns in eternal expansion. We're meaning makers in a meaningless void. The knowledge hurts, but it also awakens. It strips away illusions. It forces honesty about our place in existence. And what remains is clear-eyed wonder. We live in an expanding universe. Dark energy is real. The cosmos is lonely and doomed. And we're conscious beings who can understand all this. That understanding is a gift, even if painful. Chapter 14. The Final Answer. We've come to the end of our journey. We must now confront what we've learned and what it means. The universe is expanding into nothing. Dark energy drives the acceleration. Galaxies flee beyond horizons. Heat death or the Big Rip awaits. We know this. We understand it. We feel its weight. So what lies beyond everything? Perhaps the answer is nothing and everything simultaneously. Nothing in the sense that there's no external space. Everything in the sense that the universe contains all reality within itself. Or perhaps the same thing that lies within everything. The quantum foam, the vacuum energy, the probabilistic flux. The universe expands into more of itself. Or perhaps the question itself. What lies beyond is the mystery, the unknowability, the limit of comprehension. We can approach this boundary, map it, describe it, but we cannot cross it. This might seem like admitting defeat, but it's also recognizing limits, which is wisdom. We've done something remarkable in understanding cosmic expansion. We've measured the acceleration. We've mapped billions of galaxies. We've traced the universe's evolution. That we can't answer every question doesn't diminish what we've learned. It reminds us that reality is deeper than our theories, more complex than our mathematics. The final question remains unanswered. What lies beyond everything? We don't know. We might never know. And perhaps that's fitting. Perhaps reality should remain partially mysterious. Because in that mystery lies wonder. In that unknowability lies humility. In that beyond our grasp lies motivation to keep exploring. The universe expands into nothing, and that nothing is everything we'll never fully know, but will always seek. Epilogue. Living in the expanding void. So, how do we live with this knowledge? We do have to live with it. This isn't abstract knowledge that can be filed away. It's fundamental truth about existence. The universe is expanding. Dark energy is real. Everything ends. Some compartmentalize. They learn about expansion but don't let it affect daily life. Others let the knowledge transform them, becoming cosmically minded, always aware of vast scales. Neither approach is wrong, but there are principles that might help. First, cosmic perspective can be liberating. Yes, we're small, but that means our mistakes aren't cosmically significant. This can take pressure off, allow self-forgiveness. Second, impermanence makes the present precious. Every moment is unique and irreplaceable. The expansion teaches us to appreciate transience rather than mourn it. Third, we're part of something vast. Every atom came from stars. Understanding expansion connects us to cosmic history. We're not separate from the expansion. We're expressions of it. Fourth, consciousness is remarkable. In a universe racing toward heat death, awareness arose. Simply being conscious, able to think and wonder, is victory against entropy. Fifth, meaning is what we make it. The universe doesn't provide inherent purpose, but that's okay. We can create our own meanings, define our own values. These principles don't eliminate the terror, but they provide frameworks for living meaningfully despite cosmic doom. We can find meaning in understanding itself. Every observation revealing something new about dark energy is human achievement. We're trying to understand the universe despite being tiny, temporary parts of it. That's heroic. Science becomes defiance. The universe is indifferent, but we care. The cosmos races toward heat death, but we try to understand why. We're asserting that knowledge matters, even in a universe destined for entropy. We can also find meaning in connection. If the universe is lonely, we don't have to be. Every relationship, every genuine connection is a small rebellion against cosmic loneliness. Art, literature, music take on new significance. They're ways of asserting that beauty exists despite the universe's indifference. We create beauty, knowing it won't last, which makes creation all the more poignant. We should remember we're cosmically early. The universe is young. Stars will form for trillions of years. Life has immense time to evolve. The story isn't over. Yes, heat death awaits, but eventually is incomprehensibly long. Our moment of consciousness is just one scene in an epic spanning timescales beyond comprehension. Living in the expanding void means accepting uncertainty. We don't know if dark energy is constant or evolving. We don't know the universe's ultimate fate. But uncertainty is okay. It's part of being human. What we can control is our response. We can choose curiosity over fear, engagement over despair. We can choose to find meaning in the present rather than mourn the distant future. This is the existential choice dark energy forces upon us. Accept the void and give up, or accept the void and persist anyway. Let cosmic perspective crush us, or let it inspire us. For those who can bear the weight of cosmic knowledge, there's strange beauty in living consciously in the expanding void, aware of the darkness, aware of the end, and choosing to make light anyway. Every act of kindness defies entropy. Every moment of joy is victory against the void. Every increase in understanding is humanity asserting that knowledge has value. Every creation is evidence that consciousness finds meaning. We're trapped in an expanding universe, yes, but we're also free within it. Free to explore, question, create, love, wonder. The universe doesn't give us purpose, so we're free to choose our own. Living in the expanding void is not easy. It requires confronting uncomfortable truths. It demands accepting our insignificance while asserting our significance. It asks us to hold contradictions. Nothing matters cosmically. Everything matters humanly. But humans are good at holding contradictions. We've always lived between order and chaos, meaning and meaninglessness. Dark energy just makes these tensions explicit. We're biological organisms on a small planet. We're temporary patterns destined to dissolve. We're conscious witnesses to our own cosmic irrelevance. And yet, we're extraordinary. We're the universe made conscious. We're matter that learned to think. We're stardust contemplating its origins. We're temporary, but also miraculous. Living in the expanding void means embracing this paradox. We matter and we don't. We're everything and nothing. We're alone and connected. We're doomed and blessed. The expansion remains. The void expands. Dark energy accelerates it. Galaxies flee. Heat death approaches. We know this. We feel its weight. And we persist. We love, create, wonder, search, connect, care, not because it changes the universe's fate, but because it changes our experience of existence. Living in the expanding void is the human condition made explicit. We've always been temporary beings in an indifferent universe. Dark energy just revealed the mechanism. So, we live, consciously, deliberately, meaningfully, not despite the void, but in full awareness of it. We create light, knowing darkness surrounds us. We make connections, knowing distance separates us. We seek meaning, knowing the universe provides none. And in doing so, we become the answer to our own questions. What's the purpose of existence in an expanding universe? Whatever purpose we create. What's the meaning of consciousness in a cosmos racing toward heat death? Whatever meaning we make. The void is real. The expansion is real. The end is real. But so are we. So is this moment. So is the human endeavor to understand, create, connect, persist. Closing reflection. The universe is expanding into nothing, and nothing becomes something when consciousness arises to witness it, measure it, understand it, give it meaning. We are that something. Temporary, improbable, extraordinary something. We began this journey asking, can something infinite still be lonely? Now we know the answer. Yes. The universe is lonely, profoundly, cosmically lonely. Separation built into its deepest laws. But we also know something else. Within that lonely cosmos, consciousness arose. Minds capable of understanding the loneliness. Beings who can measure the void, map the expansion, contemplate the end. And in that consciousness, the universe is no longer entirely alone. It has witnesses. It has understanding. It has meaning, however brief and local. The universe is expanding into nothing, and we are here to see it happen. Not passively, but actively. Not helplessly, but creatively. Not meaninglessly, but with full awareness that meaning is ours to make. Dark energy will win eventually. Entropy will triumph. The expansion will continue until nothing remains but cold, empty space. But that's not now. Now there are stars, planets, life, consciousness. Now there are questions and mysteries. Now there are connections and meanings. The void is patient. It can wait. We can't. Our time is limited, so we make the most of it. We observe, measure, calculate, theorize. We create art and music and literature. We love and connect and wonder. Physicists are terrified of dark energy, but they're also exhilarated because the mystery remains. The expansion continues. The journey isn't over. The universe is expanding into nothing. That's the terrifying truth. But it's also the inspiring truth. We're temporary witnesses to an expanding cosmos, brief flickers of awareness in eternal darkness, improbable patterns seeking meaning in infinite space. And that's enough. It has to be, because it's all we have. This moment, this awareness, this chance to wonder. Dark energy will erase galaxies. Time will erase civilizations. Entropy will erase everything. But right now, we exist. We think. We feel. We wonder. We understand that the universe is expanding into nothing. And in understanding it, we give it meaning. We transform blind cosmic process into known reality. We make the void conscious of itself. That's the final truth. Not just that the universe is expanding, but that we're here to witness it. Not just that dark energy exists, but that we're capable of understanding it. Not just that everything ends, but that we're conscious of that ending. We're the universe experiencing its own expansion. We're space-time contemplating its own curvature. We're matter and energy aware of their own transformation. We're the cosmos made conscious of its own mystery. The void expands, and within it, briefly, impossibly, we think about the void. We measure it. We fear it. We wonder about it. We create meaning from it. The universe is expanding into nothing. And nothing was never the same once something arose to witness it. This is where our journey ends, not with answers, but with better questions. Not with solutions, but with deeper understanding. Not with comfort, but with awe. The universe is expanding into nothing. Dark energy is real and the void beckons while heat death awaits. And we, conscious beings in an unconscious cosmos, temporary patterns in eternal flux, small lights in infinite darkness, still carry on, observing, wondering, understanding, creating, living, all within the expanding void. This is where physics meets philosophy, where terror meets wonder, where nothing meets something, where silence whispers the question, what lies beyond everything? And the answer returns, more than you can imagine, less than you can comprehend, everything and nothing, forever expanding into itself, into mystery, into the endless, beautiful, terrifying dance of existence and absence. The universe expands, we witness, and that witnessing is everything, even as everything becomes nothing, and nothing becomes everything in the eternal expansion, into the void that is not void, into the nothing that is everything we'll never fully know, but will always wonder about. Until the last star fades, until the last thought thinks, until the last moment dissolves back into quantum foam. And even then, the expansion continues, into nothing, into forever, into the final silence that hums beneath all things. This is real. This is happening. This is the universe, expanding into itself, into nothing, into everything, into the mystery. Always. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the expanding cosmos. The universe is expanding into nothing, and it terrifies physicists. But perhaps, in understanding that terror, we found something more valuable than comfort: truth, wonder, and the courage to exist consciously in the void.